Brexit victory. Biden shake hands with Boris as UK's high-tech startups grow ahead of EU. The UK's tech sector enjoyed a record year with startups attracting more capital than ever before. In what was its best year since 2014, some £24.4 billion was raised by startups and scale-ups, according to figures released by the government's Digital Economy Council. That is more than double the sum raised the year before, and follows in step with what many had predicted would be a period of accelerated digitisation because of the coronavirus pandemic. Venture capital has flooded into online platforms like the car seller Motorway, and the second-hand clothes site Depop, as well as the banking challenger Starling Bank, all raising money that pushed them north of a $1 billion, £740 million, valuation, helping them to achieve so-called unicorn status. The US remains top in the tech startup market, however. In the first week of December 2021, Apple's stock market capitalization approached $3 trillion, £2.2 trillion, more than the entire German stock market on that day. But, as Wolfgang Munchau, a German political analyst writing in Eurointelligence, noted, Europe is now catching up with the Americans. The continent now has its own promising corner of small company startups to rival the US Silicon Valley for the first time. But, as Mr. Munchau wrote, this is mostly a UK story. Germany and France come considerably behind the UK when it comes to cumulative investments, around $45 billion and $50 billion less respectively. The boom appears to reflect Europe's north-south divide, with Spain hanging on by a thread, and Italy not even in the list's top 10. Mr. Munchau said, so this is not an EU-wide phenomenon, and certainly not a Euro area phenomenon, but a British and Northern European one. There are tons more statistics in report, about the biggest venture capital deals, the biggest venture capital exits, and many more. In the jargon of the venture capital industry, venture capital startups valued at $1 billion, £740 million, or more are called unicorns. 1 in 5 of Europe's unicorns are in the fintech sector, financial technology, which explains the prominence of the UK, especially London, as a favorite location. Mr. Munchau said he believes the next big sector to attract investment will be crypto finance. He wrote, this, too, will be a UK story first and foremost. While Britain has enjoyed early conclusions showing it as a growing startup power, data from last year could be a cause for concern. While a positive sign that Britain is becoming a hub for startup creation, the data could raise concerns that domestic businesses are being sold before they can grow to their full potential. US investors launched an unprecedented raid on British technology companies last year, according to figures compiled ahead of the biggest overhaul of foreign takeovers for 2 decades. A total of 130 UK tech firms were acquired by American companies between January and mid-December 2021, data from Startup Monitor Bohurst shows, up from 87 a year before and above the previous record of 105 in 2018. While the figures will be seen as a sign that Britain is becoming a hub for startup creation, they may also raise concerns that promising domestic businesses are being sold before they can grow into their full potential. It comes just before a new national security law comes into force which will allow ministers to intervene in far smaller deals. At present the government cannot examine takeovers of companies with a turnover of less than £70 million a year in most industries, limiting its ability to prevent promising players from being snapped up before they reach this stage. The new law, which takes effect on Tuesday, will remove this threshold and require companies of all sizes in areas such as advanced robotics, artificial intelligence and quantum computing to notify the business department if they are being sold to an overseas buyer. Although Conservative MPs are particularly concerned about the risks posed by Chinese acquisitions, the COVID crisis has sparked a new interest in national resilience which has also left many keen to preserve British business from ownership by allies such as the US.